Opponents of a vaccine mandate for service members are celebrating this morning. The requirement was cut from the newest defense bill in a compromise announced on Wednesday. Those against it say it was holding down recruitment and retention. Joe Khalil is live with a closer look at the debate unfolding. Joe, I thought we were going to have a vote on this thing, but we still don't have one.
Are you saying that Congress let you down, Mitch, and delayed when they should have been doing some
Yes,
some
I'm saying I had higher expectations, and I guess I should lower them.
So, look, we did expect a vote yesterday in the House. It did not happen. It got delayed, so we could very likely see that vote today. I was surprised when I hit the ground yesterday and did some reporting on the Senate side of the Capitol, because I talked to 4 Senate Democrats, and they all did not commit to supporting the NDAA. Many of them said that they were on the fence because of the part of it that repeals the vaccine mandate. Now, here's why that's surprising. We'll take a step back. The NDAA is the massive annual bill that authorizes all the funding for the entire military, for the entire defense. Typically, it passes without a whole lot of controversy, without a whole lot of wrangling. This year, House Republicans insisted they were not going to agree on moving it forward unless it repealed President Biden's vaccine mandate for military members. So that was House Republicans. And House Democrats basically said, we don't really like that. We don't support it, but we're going to swallow it. The NDAA is too important. So we're just going to reluctantly, move it forward. That's why I was really surprised that Democrats on the other side of the Capitol are at least indicating they may be on the fence, not committing to it. And the Democrats I talked to are Senator Jon Tester, who is a moderate and also chairs the Veterans Committee. I talked to Senator Gary Peters, who chairs the Homeland Security Committee. So these are people with vested interests in getting this thing passed. And Jon Tester, for one, told me this is about military readiness. Our troops not being vaccinated for COVID, he says, makes them less prepared for combat because potentially they could get sick and not be ready. And so he said that would be, for him, in his words, a deal breaker. So I said, well, is the vaccine mandate a deal breaker for you? Does that impact readiness? And he said, I'll put it this way. I don't perform well when I'm sick. So those are the kinds of things that I'm hearing. Now, look, it's still pretty unlikely, I think, that this NDAA does not pass. It's just not great politics. You expect that maybe some of these senators are going to come around, but certainly newsworthy and important, I thought, that 4 Senate Democrats I spoke with yesterday, not one of them committed to actually supporting this. It was pretty surprising, Mitch.
And Joe, it also seems like they're trying to add some things in here, and that seems to be some of the Republican opposition. I know that there was talk of adding in a reaffirmation of the Voting Rights Act into this bill. Are there other things that are being added in here that maybe some of the voting members of Congress in either chamber might be uncomfortable with?
Yeah, yesterday at the beginning of the day, what I heard was the bill we have is going to be the final version, and that's it. But yesterday, the reason it got sort of delayed was because you had the Congressional Black Caucus, you had a couple of other groups that were trying to add some of those types of things into the broader bill. And the consensus, at least from my sources yesterday morning, was we're going to get through that and likely pass this thing by the end of the night. Clearly, that didn't happen, so we're going to see what the negotiations look like and how it unfolds today. But I can tell you that there are both Republicans and Democrats in both chambers that want to get this moving, because it would be a really bad situation if by the end of this year we don't have that bill. It increases military members' pay by about 4%. There's a lot of funding in there for Ukraine and for Taiwan. And then you talk about the funding that goes to the branches themselves and authorizing all of that funding. It is a crucial bill that, again, in about 60 plus years has never had any serious opposition and has passed without a whole lot of problems. So we'll see if this is the first year where that's not going to be the case. Again, most of my sources think ultimately these things are going to get resolved. But as of right now, it's not 100% clear that that is going to happen.
So if and when this happens, Joe, it's going to end up on President Biden's desk. Have we heard from the White House on this?
Well, we have heard from the White House. They say that they oppose the piece that strips the vaccine mandate, but we actually have not yet heard a commitment from President Biden to sign the bill or not. The White House, I think there are some officials that have been talking sort of privately about, it's inevitable if it gets to the president's desk. Again, it seems to be really bad politics if the president ultimately vetoes the NDAA right before the new year. But so far, we have not heard the president come out and explicitly say that he is going to sign it. So it's one of those things we're going to have to wait and see. They say right now they oppose the vaccine mandate piece, but we will see if and when it gets to his desk, Mitch.
It's just going to be another interesting day at the Capitol. That's Joe Khalil. And Joe, thank you. We'll see you later in the show. Thanks for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation in your cable lineup. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-based, unbiased coverage.